Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Krishna Balaram Giraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shraddha Govinda Madhava ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Rantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. I don't know which one. It's true. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1st, Chapter 1st, text number 3 and following, because the purport is quite long. So I guess that the last speaker didn't finish the...
No, they didn't. I think it was just the first two paragraphs.
The first new...
Two paragraphs.
First two paragraphs. Yeah.
That was Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So in this shloka it is definitely stated that spiritual rasa. Did I read it?
I think it was Vrajadharma last Friday. He did the first two paragraphs, then the other one.
Yeah, and I'll start off the next one. Yeah. You've done that.
Yeah. And let me see. Canto 1, chapter 1, text.
Oh, I start here.
No, it was here. Finished. Yeah.
Okay.
Canto 1, chapter 1, text 3.
So we read new stuff. Nigama kalpataror gaditam phalam. Nigama kalpataror gaditam phalam. Shukam mukadam mrita dravasam yutam. Shukam mukam amrita dravasam yutam. Pibata bhagavatam rasahalayam. Pitabat bhagavatam rasahalayam. Muhur hao rasika bhuvir bavukaha. Muhur hao rasika bhuvir bavukaha. Nigama kalpataro ganita phalam. Nigama kalpataro ganita phalam. Shukam mukadam rita dravasam yutam. Shukam mukadam rita dravasam yutam. Pitaba bhagavatam rasamalayam. Rasamalayam. Muhur haur rasikam bhuvir bavukaha. Nigama kalpataror ganitam phalam. Shuka mukam amrita dravasam yutam. Pitaba bhagavatam rasamalayam. Muhur haur rasikam bhuvir bavukaha.
Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam.
Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam.
Sukha mukadam nitratravasam yuktam.
Shuka mukadam nitratravasam yuktam.
Vivata bhagavatam rasamalayam.
Pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam.
Muhur rasika bhuvi bavukaha.
Nigama kalpataro galitam phalam.
Nigama kalpataro galitam phalam.
Sukhamukat amrita drava samyutam.
Sukhamukat amrita drava samyutam.
Vivata bhagavatam rasam alayam.
Vivata bhagavatam rasam alayam.
Muraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha.
Muraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. Mataji.
Nigama kalpataro galitam phalam.
Nigama kalpataro galitam phalam.
Sukhamukat amrita drava samyutam.
Sukhamukat amrita drava samyutam.
Vivata bhagavatam rasam alayam.
Vivata bhagavatam rasam alayam.
Mukuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha.
Mukuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. Nigama kalpataro galitam phalam.
Sukhamukat amrita samyutam.
Sukhamukat amrita samyutam.
Pipat bhagavatam rasam alayam.
Pipat bhagavatam rasam alayam.
Mukuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha.
Mukuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. Nigama. The Vedic literatures. Kalpataroho. Desire tree. Galitam. Fully mature. Phalam. Fruit. Shuka. Srila Shukadev Goswami. The original speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. Mukat. From the lips of Amrita, nectar, drava, semi-solid and soft, and therefore easily swallowable. Samyutam, perfect in all respects. Pibata, do relish it. Bhagavatam, the book dealing in the science
The book dealing in the science
of the eternal relation with the Lord. Rasam, juice that which is relishable. Alayam, until liberation, or even in a liberated condition. Always. Aho. Rasika. Those who are full in knowledge of mellows. Bhuvi. On the earth. Bhavukaha. Expert and thoughtful. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literature. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadev Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. So I skip to the purport after 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
In this sloka, it is definitely stated that spiritual rasa, which is relished even in the liberated stage, can be experienced in the literature of the Srimad Bhagavatam due to its being the ripened fruit of all Vedic knowledge. By submissively hearing this transcendental literature, one can attain the full pleasure of his heart's desire. But one must be very careful to hear the message from the right source. Srimad Bhagavatam is exactly received from the right source. It was brought by Narada Muni from the spiritual world and given to his disciple Sri Vyasadeva. The latter, in turn, delivered the message to his son Srila Shukadev Goswami, and Srila Shukadev Goswami delivered the message to Maharaj Parikshit just 7 days before the king's death. Srila Shukadeva Goswami was a liberated soul from his very birth. He was liberated even in the womb of his mother, and he did not undergo any sort of spiritual training after his birth. At birth, no one is qualified, neither in the mundane nor in the spiritual sense. But Sri Shukadeva Goswami, due to his being a perfectly liberated soul, did not have to undergo an evolutionary process for spiritual realization. Yet, despite his being a completely liberated person situated in the transcendental position above the three material modes, he was attracted to this transcendental rasa of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by liberated souls who sing Vedic hymns. The Supreme Lord's pastimes are more attractive to liberated souls than to mundane people. He is of necessity not impersonal, because it is only possible to carry on transcendental rasa with a person. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are narrated, and the narration is systematically depicted by Srila Shukadeva Goswami. Thus, the subject matter is appealing to all classes of persons, including those who seek liberation and those who seek to become one with the Supreme Lord. In Sanskrit, the parrot is also known as shuka. When a ripened fruit is cut by the red beaks of such birds, its sweet flavor is enhanced. The Vedic fruit, which is mature and ripe in knowledge, is spoken through the lips of Shukadeva Goswami, who is compared to the parrot not for his ability to recite the Bhagavatam exactly as he heard it from his Lord Father, but for his ability to present a work in a manner that would appeal to all classes of men. O expert of thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Om Ganatiminandasya, Gananjara Shalakarai, Shatchurumiritam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Madhaveshtam Stapitam Elabhutale Swayarupa Kadamadhyanda Swapanantikam. He Krishna Karina Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantarada Kantanamostute Tapta Kanchana Gurangira Devrindamaneshwari Vrishavanu Sutari Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Yeva Chapatitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in these few slokas, Srila Prabhupada condensed the whole importance of Srimad Bhagavatam, elaborating and explaining more in details who is Shukadeva Goswami, how Srimad Bhagavatam started, and how Vedic literature is so huge, it's difficult for the men of Kali Yuga to read all of it. So he made a compilation, because that was the role of Vyasadeva, to compile Vedic knowledge. And Srimad Bhagavatam is a compilation of the compilation. It goes straight at the main target in the Vedic knowledge, because most of the Vedic knowledge is meant for common people and to give an easy life without being too much entangled in the reaction of their work, and to purify people in a way that they have a good taste in their life. There is some permission, some nice gratification, but in a controlled way, so that people do not become too much entangled. But generally, the aim of all this Vedic scripture is liberation, moksha. Because you have the four targets in the Vedic literature, Dharma, Artha, Karma, and then moksha. Liberation is what is normally reserved for the people who are at the end of their life and who have enjoyed all different aspects of Vedic civilization. And then at the end, they go in the Himalayan mountains and they don't come back. That was the system. They would take sannyas or like that. They were completely out of the society, and they would retire, but not the way we retire today. They will retire from social life and become just dependent on the mercy of Krishna and the people who give them food. So most of the literature and the Upanishad is aimed at moksha. But Srimad Bhagavatam is different. So Srimad Bhagavatam is different. It is meant to give a special taste of the intimate pastime of Lord Krishna. So that's why it is spoken here, this term is named as Rasika. Those who taste the mellows, the feelings, the spiritual emotions, the rasas. Rasika comes from rasa. So those who are tasting rasa, it's a special category of spiritualists. They are above liberation, impersonal liberation. They don't care so much about liberation. So in our devotee life, we have two principal enemies, foes. Can you cite whose enemies are in our devotional life? Maya, yeah. But more specifically, because Maya is a universe, more specifically, devotees are confronted with lust, Dr. Lust, special commandant, invading every living entity and submitting them like a ring on the nose of a bird. Even you are powerful, but you are driven by this string, these toes. Ravan was such a big warrior; he could submit the whole of the universe, but he was slave to his senses. Principally, women. He would chase after so many women. Hiranyakashipu, he got so many things, saying he conquered the world of the universe, but he was slave to his senses. So the sages who are tasting this nectarian juice, which is called rasa, which is relishable. This is the main food for special spiritualists who are interested in exchanging a relationship personal with Krishna. Because you cannot exchange any rasa with Brahmajyoti or Paramatma in the heart. You exchange rasa with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then, in order to taste rasa, there is not only the feeling but the service to be rendered, and Krishna also reciprocates in giving facilities to his devotees. In the Bhagavad Gita there is this image that is given of a ring with a diamond, golden ring with a diamond. Krishna is a diamond, and the person inclined to serve Krishna is a particle of gold. So the combination of both are exalting each other reciprocally. And this combination gives pleasure to the living entity and to Krishna unlimitedly. So this reciprocation is the basis of personalism. And it is relishable when we develop a relationship with Krishna. Because we can see that life in material world is relishable when we develop some relationship with other person. If we stay in our bunker, we will find the life unpalatable, dry, austere. We can experience that in this life, what is the best taste is relationship with person and the exchange loves with persons. Service, but emotions also. And these are just perverted reflection of what is going on in the spiritual world. If relationship exists in the spiritual material world, there is their counterpart and original expression in the spiritual world. So the spiritual world, everything is a dance, everything is question of loving relationship in between the servants and Krishna. So there's a kind of whirlpool of exchanging rasa in the spiritual world that makes the position relishable and stable. Whilst in the impersonal Brahmajyoti, there is no sense of relationship because you exist as a person, as a jivatma, a particle of consciousness, but you have no relationship with the Supreme Godhead and with other particle of liberated souls. So in order to taste, the tendency of the jiva is to enjoy, but in the spiritual world, because there is no variety, they run, although it is said at the same time that they are eternally liberated, merged in the Brahmajyoti. At the same time, they run the risk of tasting the variety, but they cannot taste it in the spiritual Brahmajyoti. Then they taste it in the material world and they fall down. Because constitutionally, the soul potentially have the tendency to taste and to have spiritual senses and to taste variety. So when it is not tasted in the Brahmajyoti, then the tendency, the risk is there that the soul may fall down in the spiritual atmosphere. Because the potential is not, cannot be manifested there. But when the jiva is situated in the spiritual world, there is this relationship with Lord Shri Krishna that makes the relationship stable and good. So this tasting of spiritual emotion is something that is very specific in the world of the devotees. So many other spiritualists advocate well-being, being free for our anxiety, dealing with passion, cooling down, enjoying nice. These are actually the fruits of Vedic civilization. But there's no question of surrendering unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. In a sense, there is something egoistical for their own benefit. But the devotee is different. He tastes happiness when he gives happiness to Krishna. And reciprocally, Krishna enjoys happiness to give happiness to the living entity who serves him. So there is this competition of who will serve who. Even in the dealings in between Lord Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who will touch the lotus feet of the other? They were fighting like that, dancing and fighting, who will touch the feet of the other one. So this competition makes a spiritual life tasteful. That's why Krishna says to Arjuna, Treguna Vishaya Veda, Nishtreguna Bhavarjuna. Go ahead, much higher than the fruits that are enjoyed by those who follow Vedic literature. The three topics of go ahead, the triguna: passion, ignorance, and goodness. Because all the whole scheme of Vedic civilization is to bring people and to keep them on the level of goodness. Then liberation, and some who are interested in developing a relationship with Lord Vishnu, Narayan, or Krishna, then it's another thing. So gradually, with Kali Yuga advancing, people, they forget who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then they worship only the devatas, forgetting material benefits. That's why on the wall of the earth, people were interested recently, be it the Egyptian, the Maya, the Africans, so on, worshipping ghosts for those who are in ignorance, devatas for those who want health, wealth, health also, and goodness for those who want peaceful life and to be promoted to generate the heavenly planets. So that was, they keep this the thinking of using the fruits of Vedic civilization for their own benefit. So the change of consciousness is a big gap, because the devotees, they do things for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. They don't do something for their own pleasure, or for their own advancement, or for their own mystic power, or for their wealth, for themselves, or their nation, or their family, and they don't even seek liberation. So the other trick is that when we get rid of lust, or to some extent, then the next stepstone, blocking way in the path of devotional service, is the desire to liberation. So certainly the devotees sometimes, they cultivate this desire because they have too much service, or they have too much of this, or they have no time to take care of their family, or of their need, or this, that. But on the whole, it's a motivation that is meant to liberate ourselves. So certainly, devotee must take care not to become addicted to such a mentality as to avoid, to seek comforts and avoid service or sacrifice, or in order to be peaceful. Because the word of the message of Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna is not be peaceful in the forest, cultivate your renouncement. No, he said, go and fight. Of course, if you don't fight, you are still in the Ganges. But Krishna says, go in the middle of the Ganges. You go away in the streams. There are many whirlpools in the Ganges. Some dead cows, they turn around for months before being eaten by fishes and so many things. You are in the middle of the Ganges, you go swiftly. So similarly, in the Vedic literature, there is a lot of literature for those who want to be in the Ganges, but on the side. And there is more specific literature for those who want to go swiftly in the middle of the Ganges. Both are liberated, but those in the middle of the Ganges, they don't care about liberation. They care about pleasing Lord Krishna. And this is where you taste something. Guru Govinda Swami used to say, you have to go to dive deeply in the ocean of devotional service. If you stay at the surface, you will have algs and small fishes. If you dive, you have big fishes, and eventually you have pearls, jewels in the bottom of the ocean. That's where pearls, according to Vedic literature, are produced, and not only that, but jewels as well. So to have this taste, we have to find our service in which way we have some nice relationship with the devotees and something that develops toward satisfying Krishna. This is the fundamental idea of what is devotional service, and so different the attitude, the internal attitude is from the other kind of spiritualist who desire something for the ultimate benefit. So here, Shukadev Goswami explaining all this Bhagavatam is like the ripe mango from the Vedic literature. Of course, it is said that the best of the fruits is renowned as the king of the fruits is the mangoes, but there are different varieties of mangoes, and not all are mature. Of course, you can do something with even green mangoes, but it is especially ripe when it is ripe, especially tasteful when it is ripe, to the point of you have parrots who taste. It means it's ready to be relished. So here, Srila Prabhupada explained why Shukadev Goswami, because Shuka is also a parrot. So he explained that not only he could recite Bhagavatam exactly as he heard from his father Vyasadeva, but he presented the work in such a manner that it tasteful for the people. Because if you scrutinizingly analyze a devotional service, at the beginning you have a few rules, the 4 regs, this to do, this to do. But after sometimes you realize there's a lot of things to do and things not to do. Krishna upgrades the level every year with every other companion or every different services, and like that. We not must be stay idle and satisfied where we are. We should anchor up this desire to make more, because we want to satisfy the spiritual master and Krishna, and this is the hub, the motivation in our spiritual life. we have challenge, or we can also put some challenge in our life. I want to do this, this, this. It will satisfy the spiritual master. Then it's an internal marathon. Then you are able to taste some rasa, some reciprocation to Krishna. When you do some extra effort, some extra sacrifice, Krishna so shows in a way or another he is pleased with you. And then, Tesham satatayuttanam bhajatam pritipuvakam, then it gives you realization. It gives you a taste in the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. When you taste this mango juice in your tongue, you would like to chant, to have millions of tongues to chant the name of Krishna, and you would like to have millions of ears, so that, like a bell, you know, you put good cartons with good metal bell, 5 metals, ding, it vibrates in the head. Good quality cartons. So similarly, when you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you have this feeling in the heart, in your ear, in your mind, your whole body resonates with the chanting of the holy name. And then you can understand that platform of eternity, bliss, and knowledge also. Everything becomes revealed. So this state of mind happens when Krishna is satisfied in a way or another with your efforts. And then you have some realization through the holy name mainly, because that's the main motor of our spiritual life. And we realize at this point that the name of Krishna and the vibration that comes out from our mouth are not different. We realize this fact that the name and Krishna are not different. Otherwise, it becomes, or it stays mechanical, and we don't have so much realization. So it becomes a little dry. Difficult to go ahead years after years with a dry process. We have to see that some impurities or some things that are not properly done, that are hampering our tasting of the holy name of the Lord. In the Bhakti Samarbha, text 153, Hariprasad Elinme gives 5 reasons why our chanting becomes stagnant. It means you are not in the middle of the Ganges. And the first one, which is elaborately described in this reading from this book from Bhaktivinoda Thakur about the mind, prayer to the mind. First problem is crookedness. Of course, Krishna is crooked, especially in New Mayapur. He is very much crooked because he wants to fish the fallen and living entity in the Kali Yuga. So he goes down to lift them up. So the Krishna in New Mayapur is particularly bent for fishing back, taking out of the ocean of Kali Yuga the living beings. So the crookedness of the devotees or those who are starting spiritual life is obviously there. You can't avoid it. Because in the material world, if you are not cooked, you become exploited. But in the spiritual atmosphere, these crookedness have to be abandoned. We have to have a free heart, and earthful prayer to the Lord in order for the Lord to reciprocate. We try to hide many things, but Krishna sees what is behind our back. He sees what is hidden. So crookedness is another word for a lack of being straightforward about Krishna. So we have many tendencies that are here due to our past sojourn in the material world that you can't avoid. You can't get rid of crookedness like that. You join, you're straight. You want to be straight, it's a good thing. But to get rid of it completely takes some time. It's not cheap, it's not free. You have to pray also, not Krishna, to have a straight heart, to pray with heartful intentions. You may say, I'm so fallen. One disciple, he was saying to Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen, Prabhupada. I'm the most fallen. And Prabhupada, with his attitude and stern eyes, he looked at him and he said, you are nothing. But with the power to give this realization to the devotee who was speaking like a parrot, or mechanically, I'm the most fallen, I'm the most fallen. Where what is the realization that you are most fallen? If you say things mechanically, mathematically, you won't get the result with Krishna. It will be artificial, superficial. Krishna likes heartful prayers. If you are not free from crookedness, you are not. I am not. Maybe you are not. You advocate your case. Yeah, I'm not straight. Please make something so that I become straight. Change my heart. When we pray to Lord Chingadev, we should pray not only against our problem, internal enemies. These are the real enemies. Like the Muslim, jihad, but they don't understand the enemies is inside, in their head. So they try to fight with some sword or like that. They fight in other people because they are not of their faith, or they don't follow like they think we should follow. But the enemy is inside. And they do nothing to fight the real enemy inside. The dog inside. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj would say, in your heart you have two dogs, one black, one white. The black dog is the one, the bad quality from the past. The white dog is Krishna's dog. So this fight is going on in the heart. They show in the beginning. Who will win? So Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj would say, it's a long way, but what you have to do, you have to stop feeding the black dog. You will eventually starve, become feeble, and be eaten by the white dog. So the effort or the prayer we have to address to Lord Shri Krishna is, please, destroy the black dog in my heart. I cannot do so many things. I can desire or pray to have the desire in order to get rid of my bad and black habits. So these prayers should be there, and our mentality should be like that of a beggar. Like we go in Sankirtan, we beg to people, please, take the book. We beg to Krishna, please, give me the strength to continue my spiritual life. Give me mercy. I need your mercy. We beg from the spiritual master, I call him. We are spiritual beggars. We have to be in this mood, very humble. When we realize we are so full with so many bad qualities, we've been rotting so long time here, not just this life, many lives, with so many enemies, so many so-called friends, so-called husband, wives, so many employers or patrons. All these people, all these relationships, like waves in an ocean, they are gone. They will be gone. What will just remain is ourselves and Krishna. We don't realize it because, it's far, it's not for us. I have time. It may become close at any time. You may have some question. I speak slowly, on my stuff. Or realization, or
question. So the translation to the purport and something that you mentioned. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. You're saying that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the best, but of the Vedic literatures. So it's a bit of a contradiction, because what is Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Bhagavad Gita? It's also Vedic literatures, no?
Yeah.
So is that less? You understand?
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada also, the back to Godhead, advocates returning to Godhead. So we motivate people by going back to Godhead. But what will you do when you go back to Godhead? We have to have a relationship with the Godhead. So the process of just going back to Godhead is not enough. It's for appealing the mass of the devotees and the people. Yeah, you should go back to Godhead. But the real aim is prema, to develop a loving relationship with Krishna. The rest, you don't care. It's in the pocket, liberation, going back. The main fruit of bhakti is developing a loving relationship with Krishna. It's not going back to God directly. It is a sub-product that is more appealing to the mass of the spiritualist. If you speak love of Godhead to people in general, they will think you are from a mental planet or something. If you speak about going back to Godhead, it's more appealing to them. So when we start spiritual life, it's the same. We are not interested in staying in this world. It is so ugly, especially in this age. There is no Vedic interest, Vedic peoples, nothing. It's the desert. So it's a good thing to be motivated. It's a good motivation. But when you go in the details, it's not enough.
So how does that relate to the books, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita? How does that make one better than the other? They're both important.
Yeah. So gradually the Srimad Bhagavatam makes you interested in the atmosphere of Vrindavan and how the dealings of Krishna and the Vrajbasi is so intimate and so juicy. But you start by the celestial planets, where it comes from, the universal form like that. So gradually, you come to the point of forgetting that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the creator of this material world. But it's more advanced. First you have to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. He's a person, you have different personalities, and the personality of Krishna is supreme. So they will speak about Narayan, they will speak of Vishnu, Nishingadev. But ultimately we come to the point of Krishna, and the way is to become attracted to Krishna. Particularly the Krishna of Vrindavan. Not even Krishna of Dwarka, Krishna of Vrindavan. Yeah.
Just to add from Prabhuji's question there, and from the narration from your lecture, the impersonalists, they don't have a relationship with the Lord. They want, once they go back to Godhead, where they stay in impersonal Brahma Jyoti, they are alone. The soul is alone. They have no connection with other devotees or other soul. So the rasa is not there. So the rasa is not there. So when you go into, for example, 5-star hotel, and you are alone, and all the facility is there, but you are alone, you won't enjoy it, right? You want to enjoy it with someone else, your friend, your girlfriend, your wife, your children, or someone, colleagues who are in same level as you in that place. However, because they get there and that's what they see, and that's what they've been doing even here. So Prabhuji said that in old days they used to go to Himalayas for liberation, just to come out of the material life. But alone, they won't enjoy that rasa, what Prabhuji is talking about. So then they fall down to get that rasa. Mm-hmm. But now, Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this, the scriptures you're talking about, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's given the stages to go into those rasa, especially the Lord Chaitanya Prabhu, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has developed that love. So he's teaching us the love, how to love Krishna. That's where it comes, that how to love Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya is teaching us in that, his life and also through the scripture. But what also the question is here is that we loving Krishna, but sometimes okay, when we go back to Godhead, of course, we also have to love the devotees, the soul who's surrounding us in back to Godhead. So even in this world, we have to develop that relationship with the devotees. So sometimes we do find it in our community that we don't get on with this devotee or this devotee. So that is also not very good, because if you're loving Krishna, then you have to develop that rasa to love and build up that relationship with the devotees as well. And that's a hard part. because sometimes you don't tolerate something, and
All,
sometimes
all of this, what you're explaining, is quite understandable. But does it make the Srimad Bhagavatam better than the Chaitanya Charitamrita, or better than the Bhagavad Gita? This is what I mean. So I mean, they're all in my position, they're all important books. But then aren't they all ripened fruit? All three of them. This is more my question. Yeah, I mean, not as challenging question, but just to kind of understand.
To explain love of Godhead is not a simple thing. Because it's another completely different feeling and taste that we can experiment through the senses and the body and the material body. We can experiment mainly through the sound, participating in kirtans, bhajan, when we chant the holy name. We can have a sense, a kind of taste. Now, finding our relationship with Krishna is really advanced stage. Cannot speak on that, not at this level, obviously. But tasting something, it's available for everyone. And tasting more and more deeply and more frequently, we have to grasp it, keep it as a jewel, making it unbreakable, inoubliable.
Unbreakable?
We don't forget it. We don't forget it. Even in the worst situation, we don't forget. This is our qualification to receive the mercy also from Lord Chaitanya and the spiritual master. When we are in high winds or difficult situation, it will happen some days. It's not always in the bottom. Sometimes there is tempests, typhoons, big tests. We have to remember that it is transitory, and we have to remember, even we don't, sometimes for some time we have no taste in our chanting. We have some like no man's land period of time. Nothing happens.
Yeah, then you really have to persevere.
You are in the desert. You have to persevere. Krishna also tests with time. And drita vrataha, your determination.
that is the devotional service. Because when you like distributing books and out of 10 people only one person taking and other are just, but sometimes you give up. You say, no, it's not working. That's when you lose. But if Krishna is testing that, you have to continue.
Yeah, you have to. If you do Sankirtan book distribution, you are often like that. Sometimes it is the desert, and at the last door, you full set. Brahma Haridas, a big, good book distributor, would say, when it is hard, it means there is some diamond somewhere.
Do you find it hard? Do you find it hard, Harini?
Yeah, it was quite hard this time.
Sometimes we are blocked in the heart. We can feel it. We are on the platform false ego, or we retaliate, and sometimes people, they tell us, Krishna is speaking through them. Why are you so harsh? Why are you so attached? They tell you. And you reflect, I'm not enough humble, too much false ego. You pray, and all of a sudden, books go. You feel you met nice persons. It's really the test. which guna is influencing you in the parking lot or in the street. Antara Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Ora Premanand.
Hari.
Take the 10-minute journey. Which guna is influencing you the most? Take the 10-minute journey. Which guna is influencing you the most?